This is Shawn Dunand of Freedom Marine, and I was here to take you on a tour of the Axopar 37 2020 cross cabin. This was a new design and evolution of the design and a new boat from Axopar in 2020. And this is the first one we had in Western Canada. I'll flip around to front camera and take you on a little bit of a tour of these great boats. So as we're going around, currently I'm sitting in the aft bench seat of the 37 cross cabin, and I'm actually ducking out of the wind so you can hear me a little bit better. But if you look closely from the back seat, you get great visibility all around. I'm going to pan a little bit to the left here, and you'll see that everybody sitting inside this cabin will have a great view wherever you're going. Given that the boat travels with a very level attitude, keeps the bow down, keeps your visibility good, but it also gives everybody on board a great view of the trip and the scenery going by, as you might be going anywhere from 8 to 37 knots as you're traveling around. So walking up to the main helm here, you can see that this is what's called the Simrad info screen, or a Simrad display, info display. So it's a single glass panel all the way across with two 12-inch Simrad screens with all the multi-function displays that you would expect. So from your broadband radar, depth sounder, GPS plotter, radar overlays, and then linked into the SmartCraft system, so you can display all of your engine data on either screen and in as much detail as you'd like to customize, which is a nice treat when you're running fast. You have your chart plotter and radar overlay on one, and your engine information all real-time displayed on the second chart plotter. So stepping back, this boat here is a Brabus model, and being Brabus, it gets a few extra touches on it, many of them cosmetic touches, but it does make the boat stand out on its own. One of them is the soft suede wheel with the Brabus insignia, as well as you'll see the diamond stitch seating with Brabus logos on it. And I'll just give you a little pan around the cabin so you have a look back here, and you'll see that you've got an L-shaped bench seat, room for 4 or 5 back in there. You get a high-low table, and it folds out to the full size. Taking a step back to give you that view. Of note, underneath the bench, it is storage all the way around, probably 2 to 3 feet deep. It gives you great storage for many gear. The boat has a capacity of up to 12 people, so we actually have 12 life jackets under here, and if you need space to store those. The certified Euro B classification for offshore is certified up to 10, and then if you're adding 12 people, you have the coastal certification of. So again, just panning through the windows, looking off the aft deck. I'm going to spin around. We're going to head up to the forward cabin. So there is a hatch accessible by push button. And one of the nice features of going to the new cross cabins is a lot of the latches and mechanisms have been improved. The quality's improved quite well over the previous versions, just for small bits of hardware, and it's just a company that's ever progressing and doing a great job of ever producing a better boat. So here we are looking down into the forward accommodations, where you get a long double berth, L-shaped bench seating. You get a small vanity, some storage underneath. And one of the unique features about this boat, and it's an option on any of the new 37 Axopars, is the gull wing doors. And so although we can enter from where we're going now, we're going to enter into this forward cabin. Take another look forward and you'll see port and starboard gull wing doors with gas shocks. Sit back in here and just take in the view. So even though we're down below and we've got slightly less headroom, when you look up, skylights all around and keeps it very bright and comfortable. And if that's not enough, we can go over and let's take a step back. So we've now opened one of the gull wings to just give you a sense of how much that opens up this boat when you're going a bit forward. You do have a forward opening hatch for ventilation when you're sleeping. And just panning around. And now looking aft. So I'm now sitting up in the forward berth, having a look back to, there's a main electrical panel back there with all of your breakers. Companionway entrance. And down below, underneath this seat, is where they keep the electric head. And on these boats, that's waste monitor and electric flush. All of these boats are fitted with the proper holding tank, macerator, and discharge pump, just as if you were on a big cruising boat. Zoom in on that electrical panel for you. All right. So why don't we exit through the gull wing door and we'll have a look. There's quite a bit of wind out there, but I think we're in between right now, so it might give us a chance to look at the outside without too much interference. So I've stepped out of the starboard gull wing door and walk into the bow of the boat. Okay, and then spinning around. Sorry about the quick movements there, guys. All right, so now I'm sitting on the forward deck cushion, looking aft at the main cabin. You can see that I've got one of the gull wings up. Definitely we can put both up and give you a sense of that. Except for I need a key. So we'll stay with one gull wing up for the moment. All right, so just close the gull wing doors. Again, this will give you a good chance to see all the glass. It lets all the light in from the top. You can see that small opening hatch in the forward seat. And then down on the floor, right where I'm standing here, you'll see that there's room to put a little base for a table base. And so there's a small bow table for this boat. And I'll step back so you can see how you would sit on there. So you can sit facing forward, sit facing aft with a small table in between, which is a nice spot for a nice day. And given that this is the wet bar model, you actually have some room back in the aft deck for outdoors sunning or just spending time outside. Seeing as we're up forward, it's not the best sequence, but we're right at the anchor locker, and I do want to show you that. It's very well done. It's been a work in progress for a few years, and they've done a great job now with the latest version of Axopar. So one large hatch gas strut to help lift it. You have a ultra anchor, and all chain stainless steel chain rode 1/4 inch, and quite a bit of storage in behind. So if you look closely way down, all of your road is stored below the anchor windlass and contained behind the bulkhead. And then coming aft, large open space, you get your anchor breaker up and down switch. And then this boat does have the wireless control for the windlass, so you can control it from the bow or anywhere on deck, and same with the bow thrusters connected into that wireless control. And before we take off, there's our 30 amp shore power cord, which runs out very nicely underneath the lid. There's a raised section for the anchor, and your cord runs out and keeps your receptacle protected from the elements. It's nicely done. I'm just going to close this up. Okay, so just a quick look at the bow. We're going to pan around and we're going to start heading out. We've got a bit of wind coming, so I'm not sure what the volume's doing. I'll do my best to move through this and keep us out of the wind as best we can. So walking to the forward windshield, up onto the roof, and what you'll see up there is a couple crossbars for carrying your kayak or paddleboard or any kind of adventure toys that you want to take with. Around the cabin top, you do have a gutter that doubles as your handrail all the way around, so there's always somewhere to grab on. And then coming down to the feature of the windshield, you have a reverse shear windshield, which has a number of purposes, but one of the main ones is you do get shade over the windshield, so you don't get glare. It gives you some of the best visibility you can. When you're shedding water for rain and off the wipers, it comes off faster. And also, if you do take some water against the windshield, it's much stronger and can take a good water impact this way if it ever should occur. Looking down at the side decks, we've got good spacious side decks. I can stand side by side feet, and so you can just walk normally or you can walk sideways as your preference. Midship, you can see a small little step into the gunwale, so if you've got shorter legs, you can take a half step up, and you'll see that the safety railings have been eliminated in that area to allow you to step over midship and tie off the boat to a dock without catching your feet on those rails. Moving further aft, this boat was ordered with the 6 speaker system, so you have 2 in the main cabin, 2 on the foredeck, and 2 in the aft deck. And these are all controlled through the Fusion system. And we're looking over the aft cockpit. You've got the built-in wet bar, as we said. Again, these boats are modular, so you could order it with an aft cabin, you can order it with a wide open aft deck, or as in this case, the wet bar. And it's really a trade-off based on how you wish to use the boat. And I think that's partly what makes Axopar so successful, is people can tailor it to their uses. Looking further aft, you'll see we've got the water ski bar, which of course works for towing if you want to tow something on it, but it also creates a great handhold. So when you're at the back of the boat and you're moving through rough seas, or you've just got people standing around back here, they can lean on it, hang on to it. It's a great feature to have on your boat, whether you water ski or not. Okay, so just panning across the aft cockpit. Probably the best thing for us would be to get over to that wet bar before it gets too windy. We're looking at the aft window, and again, as when we first started, and I talked about the visibility all the way around for helmsmen and all guests, this is part of that. You can look over your shoulder and you can see everywhere. Up on the hardtop, this one has 1, 2, 3, 6 rod holders. You have your radar tower You have a remote spotlight, broadband radar, and your VHF antennas. With all the XCs, you have the button latches. And this one will reveal a few things. You have the electric grill, or pardon me, gas grill top. So this one's run on propane. Refrigerated compartment. And there's a drain on the bottom, so if you wanted to save power, you could also throw ice and beverages in there. Great alternative to just the single fridge inside the boat. Get a sink and vanity on the port side of the wet bar. Under the wet bar, you do get storage. You get 2 large lockers. Let's see, just clean and empty. And this particular boat we're showing right now is currently available. It was reduced for the boat show to $387,500, and it is the only 37 cross cabin you can buy on the West Coast here right now and have for this season. Of course, we would love to sell you a new boat as well, but those will get here for next season or at the beginning of next year. So if you want to be on the water this summer, this should be something you would consider if you're looking at an Axopar 37. Looking after the Mercuries, these are the 350 horsepower L6 Mercuries. They're supercharged, and they push the boat very well. It's mid-range, anywhere from 24 to 36 knots. It's fast. It's quick and smooth, and the boat wants to be up there. It's not struggling to be on a plane. It's just running smoothly. They have about 100 hours on them, and they've just had their 100-hour service. So really, it's ready to go boating today. When we're back here, we haven't yet looked at the cockpit storage lockers. There's one on port and starboard. Take a step back. So they're big enough to carry a couple fenders. Some of them can be ordered as a live well. Others can be ordered as a cooler. This particular one is actually, it does have the insulated side, so it's designed, it can be used as a cooler. There's a drain down there. You've got your manual bilge and your aft deck shower. It works good for rinsing the salt off, but also if you're kind of hiking ashore or doing that kind of stuff, it's great for rinsing off boots or sandals or sandy feet. Okay, just panning back up. Looking over the starboard side, you have the same locker again, fenders. For other gear, there's your diesel fill for the forced air diesel heater, and this one has downrigger plugs on port and starboard. That's what those MARINA plugs are. Moving back up, seeing the wet bar. Close the lid on that wet bar and give us back our nice view out the window. One thing to note too, which is a new feature to the cross cabin, when you had the wet bar on the previous version, the top up here would fold up to get out of the way. On the new one, they've designed the top a bit higher and re-engineered this so that you can actually stand and work at the wet bar without having to move a top. So everything's solid up there, no hinges, no movement, just makes things simple. Going back up the starboard side deck, again, you'll see we've got a lot of line tied on here, but midship cleats in a perfect spot when you come out the helm door. You have the step for short legs and up onto the dock. Looking back into the cabin, I'll give you one more view of the helm. All right, and Switching back over to the double bolstered seats. Back to the helm. And there's a portable wireless VHF. Actually, I shouldn't say wireless, it's wired, your VHF handheld. Again, as we were talking about, you had a remote control for the thruster and windlass, and that is right on here. There it is, remote control, thruster, windlass, main thruster control, remote spotlight control, and your trim tabs. And the trim tabs are on a joystick, so it's quite intuitive, port, starboard, up and down. Just gonna close this hatch. We're going to have a seat down, just like we're going for a run on the Axopar, and close the doors so you guys can actually hear me properly. So now, get a good view across. We're now sitting in the helm seat, and from here you can see a few things. You can see the overhead speakers in the cockpit, but more importantly, you can see hot air vents coming up underneath the windshield. That's all connected to the Webasto heater system, which, if you're going out in the middle of winter, you turn on the boat about 15-20 minutes before you're going, and you'll come out and you have a nice warm boat, and you can be in regular clothing and enjoy a nice day on the water. Down here is the control for that Webasto heating system. Now, one of the things we didn't show in real time is that these boats have a retractable sunroof. They can be manual, they can be electric. This one's electric, and we find a lot of them are electric nowadays. The control for that is down here at the helm, just beside the dash, right down here. And that, given it's been raining and off and on while we were setting up for this, we didn't take the harbor cover off. That said, we can still demonstrate the electric opening at the top. But in short, it's a nice way to get a little bit of ventilation in if you don't want a whole bunch of sun. And then on those great days where you just want to be out there, you can open it up wide open and everybody gets lots of sunlight. You can lock the sliding doors in wide open position, and it does feel like you're out in the elements, even though you can get protection at any moment that you want to warm up or get out of the elements. Just panning one more time back around to the cabin and trying to see if there's any other features I might like to show you here. And I believe the fridge was one of the last ones that we had missed. So looking down on the port side, you've got the small isotherm refrigerator. It slides out here. And so this again is working in conjunction with the large refrigerated ice box in the wet bar. So between the two, it makes for a nice package. And then just one last little walk around the boat here, and maybe a little less talking, so you guys can just take in the features of the boat. And currently, this boat is in Sidney, BC. It's on our sales dock at the Port Sidney Marina. We would be happy to take you on a tour of this boat. Don't believe it'll be around long. Again, it's the one and only cross cabin opportunity for an Axopar 37 for this summer. So I would expect somebody's going to secure it for themselves very soon. I hope it's you. And my name is Shawn Dunand, Freedom Marine. Happy to help. This was the Axopar 37 cross cabin 2020. Thank you.